This
those friends of
conference will
ours.
now be recorded.
Thank you so very much. And this recording is dedicated to those friends of ours who couldn't join and would love to have the recording. So, as I was telling you, that this particular topic called virtual extensible local area network. This particular topic is very important topic, not only from the topic point of view, but also from the point of view of the next major topic, which we will be doing after this called ACI, Application Central Infrastructure, another very extensive topic. In itself, this topic called VXLAN is important, but also this topic is a supportive topic for the next topic. And in order to support this particular topic, there is a topic called multicast. So during this particular topic, we do take a break and revise multicast knowledge in a day. So let's start VXLAN now. As the name suggests, virtual extensible local area network. This topic is about. So in this particular topic, the most important thing which we need to discuss is first of all the topology base of VXLAN. Because in order to do this particular topic, the topology, the connectivity between the devices is different from that of our traditional or legacy type of connectivity. In this particular topic, we need to understand about the significance, what is, first of all, underlay and what is overlay and their respective significance and the interrelationship between them. Guys, as I said, VXLAN is a topic which prepares ourselves for next topic called ACI. All right. We will be understanding about different kind of overlays in our data center. Then we will come over to VXLAN. What is VXLAN and its evolution, its requirement, etc. And then to understand the VXLAN terminologies, VXLAN deployment modes, and the last but not the least, in fact, this is the last bullet point, but this is the most important component of VXLAN. Virtual extensible local area networking is incomplete without having our understanding of MPBGP address family, L2 VPN, EVPN deployment mode of VXLAN. So, before we reach over to this particular topic, dear friends, please refresh your knowledge about BGP and associate it to the MPBGP. Because in our configuration lab, the MPBGP plays one of the most important and the significant role. All right. So let us start. And the very first understanding. All right, lineup is VXLAN MPBGP EVPN. A beautiful and a very expensive lab we will be doing in this particular topic. Of course, hands-on, the lab will be available to you 24 by 7, 365 days in a year, as long as you want. In this particular lab, you will be doing an end-to-end connectivity test. Okay, now the VXLAN topology. Guys, now let's see the topology on our right hand side. The topology name is known as based on the names which we give to the devices which we deploy there, leaf and the spine topology. Number one. Well, the leaf and the spine terminology for a topology was used by Cisco in a topic called fabric path. Let's not to say that this particular topology setup was introduced only in VXLAN, but it was introduced in Fabric Path. But before that, it was introduced in a technology called TRIL, which stands for Transparent Interconnection of Lots of Links, followed by the Fabric Path, and then, of course, in VXLAN, the same topology, and of course, the same topology in application-centric infrastructure. But if we say that this particular topology design setup was started from TRIL, would not be an error, but let me tell you, the origin of this topology setup happened in the year 1938 by a gentleman named Edson Erwin, and this particular topology was first time formalized by Charles Claus in the year 1953, and then the Bell Telephone Company used this particular topology to connect the switches. What switches? The telecommunication switches. So there was a long, I can say, long gestation period for this topology to come back. And now when this topology of leaf and spine is back, it is one of the most popular topology. Now, what exactly is this topology? This topology holistically believes only in north and south connectivity between the switches. This topology says, sorry, no east to west connectivity. It is only the north and the south connectivity, and northbound switches are thus known as spine switches. Southbound switches are known as leaf switches. The question comes is, why not the conventional topology like this? Why not to have a connectivity like this? And the reason is very simple, guys. This kind of ring topology creates layer 2 loop by the virtue of the connectivity. And the moment we say layer 2 loop, that particular moment, spanning tree protocol gets activated, and the moment spanning tree protocol gets activated, one of the link automatically gets blocked. So the cost spent, the dollar spent on purchasing this particular port gets wasted. So the developer of spanning tree protocol only, if you people remember, a lady called Radia Perlman, she only came up with a solution called transparent interconnection of lots of links, TRIL, which Cisco transformed into Fabric Path. Now, industry calls the topology now as VXLAN. Guys, Fabric Path was there in CCIE Data Center Examination 1.0 only. Sorry, my pen stopped. 1.0 only. Starting from version 2.0, Cisco introduced VXLAN and officially declared Fabric Path as deprecated from version 2.1. Okay, so leaf and spine topology by the name of the developer person who formalized it, Mr. Charles Claus. This topology is also known as Claus network architecture. I hope this makes sense to you people. Okay, there is Mr. A. Mr. A, could you please write down your full name? would be highly appreciated. We have got Ruchik also. Ruchik, are you the same? Whom I know, a very old friend of mine.
Yes, sir.
Ruchik, great. Yeah, Ruchik Sharma, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Great. Good to have you. We know each other for past more than 6, 7 years.
Even more than that.
Yeah, 10 years, right? A decade relationship.
Yeah, yeah.
Great. Good to have you here, Ruchik.
Yeah, thank you so
Okay.
much, sir.
It's my pleasure.
Sir,
It's
I
my
have a
pleasure to
one
have you.
question. So
Please,
far.
Ruchik.
Yeah. So, what's the benefit of VXLAN over Fabric Path, if I say?
Uh, Simple benefit. Fabric Path was Cisco proprietary.
Uh-huh.
VXLAN is industry standard.
Okay.
Major benefit. So
Okay.
for Fabric, it means you can run this particular technology when you have end-to-end Cisco switches only. But for VXLAN, that is not the limitation. This is a major benefit. And Cisco itself realized that why should we continue with Fabric Path? Cisco deprecated Fabric Path and introduced VXLAN,
Okay. Okay.
right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Well,
Sir, I have a question.
please, Vishant.
Uh, yeah, sir, mm, we already have L2 VPNs and all. So my question is pertaining why, what is the advantage of VXLAN over those technologies, L2 VPN and all? We also
Definitely.
can.
Absolutely. A very important question. Okay. I'm coming on to that. I'm coming. I was just reading some chat messages. Okay. So the advantage of VXLAN. Coming over to this, but let me give you a brief of this. So only north to south connectivity, no east to west connectivity, spine to spine. The switches are not supposed to be connected. The leaf is not supposed to be connected to another leaf switch. If that is the case, then layer 2 loop will occur. And if there is a layer 2 loop, then spanning tree protocol will be activated and we have to get one of the interface blocked. Their VXLAN will not work. Okay. Now, in order to understand what is VXLAN, guys, very important. VXLAN is nothing but it is an overlay technology. VXLAN is what? Overlay. Overlay is what? It is synonymous to a terminology called tunnel. Now, what is this tunnel? This is not only an L2 tunnel, but this is L2 plus L3 tunnel. Prior to VXLAN, the fabric path, if you talk about, or if you talk about another Cisco's tunneling technology called overlay transport virtualization, OTV, that was a tunneling technology wherein only L2 traffic was allowed. That is, L3 IP based traffic was not allowed. But in case of VXLAN, IP based traffic is also allowed. Now, more we will go in VXLAN, more better we will be able to understand what I just said. But the core of VXLAN is the underlay, and the underlay is nothing but underlay is layer 3 routing protocol which need to be configured, and the routing protocol, the industry most lovable routing protocol now is OSPF. So what do we say? In order to configure VXLAN, please make sure that layer 3 reachability is duly established. In case if layer 3 reachability between all the leaf and the spine switches is duly established, only then we can think of establishing our VXLAN tunnel, right? So VXLAN is our overlay technology, but when it comes to underlay, we all know that for underlay, there are layer 3 interfaces, there are layer 3 IP addresses, layer 3 routing protocols. Now, the machines over here, what you see over here, they are called AND host machines. When it comes to just a plain underlay, we call these machines as either virtual servers or they can be physical servers. And this particular segment, with the help of which they are connected to their respective leaf switches, are known as LAN segment. Guys, now we are just going to see the change, the transformation in the terminologies the moment this VXLAN is configured on top of the underlay. When we do configure VXLAN, which is an overlay on top of this underlay, the terminology of the devices get changed. But you know what? Let us introduce ourselves before the VXLAN as a major technology. Let us introduce ourselves as different kinds of overlays which can be created. Over here in this particular slide, I'm just trying to show you that there are 3 different kinds of overlays. Number 1, network overlay. Number 2, host overlay. Number 3, hybrid overlay. But in this particular slide, I will not be able to explain you because the names which are so small, so minuscule that I cannot show you in this slide share mode. So what do I need to do? I have to get rid of from this slide share mode and okay, and zoom this, suppose this network overlay more out. Guys, I'm bringing this network overlay closer to you to look at into the endpoints. Now, kindly be noted, we are talking about the network overlay. In case of network overlay, right? Okay, this is a network overlay. Let me take my pen from GTM. Now, the switches, which switches? The leaf switches are being used to create the tunnels. What are these? These are the tunnels. So where we have created the VXLAN tunnels, we have created these VXLAN overlay tunnels from one switch, zoom to another switch. The moment we configure the VXLAN overlay tunnel, these leaf switches are no more called as just simple plain vanilla leaf switches, but we give them more technical terminology to them that is called VTAP, which stands for VXLAN tunnel endpoint. So under network overlay, the tunneling is done on the leaf switches. That is, what kind of leaf switch is it? This is a hardware based leaf switch. All these leaf switches, that is leaf switch A and zoom leaf switch A2. This is a A1 and this is A2. Both of these leaf switches, they are hardware based leaf switches. VXLAN provides not only hardware to hardware based overlay tunnel, but VXLAN also provide you. Now let me take you there. Let me zoom in. Let me go to the second. VXLAN, besides providing you hardware leaf switch to hardware leaf switch, also provides you another kind of overlay. Now, coming over here. Probably, my dear friends, you must have heard of, I'm sure, VMware, right? A very big, very popular company, a pioneer in server virtualization, network virtualization, etc., etc. They have opened so many beautiful horizons. They are into everything wherever it comes to networking. So, but they don't give you any hardware device. They give you the solution, and the solution you can implement on any of the server. Now, VMware provides you, instead of hardware switches, they provide you the software switches. And now, when you have software switches, does it mean that VXLAN still needs hardware? No. VMware provides you the VXLAN overlay tunnel right from one of the software switch. You know what is that called? That switch is called VDS, VMware Distributed Switch, or vSphere Distributed Switch. So VMware solution says that VXLAN, if it is, that yes, VXLAN tunnel I can provide from one VDS to another VDS. Guys, you know what? If you have a question about what is this VDS, how do we create a VDS, what is the networking done with the help of VDS, the solution, the answer to this question lies in the next topic called application centric infrastructure. If you have a question about what is this server virtualization, what is this network virtualization, guys, your question is, and your thirst to know this is very legitimate. That is the today's requirement of the world to know. And the answer to this lies in application centric infrastructure, our next course. Okay, so what is a host overlay? VXLAN supports host overlay. Yes, Nishant, probably you wanted to say something.
Uh, no, actually, I have not asked anything as of now.
No worry, I got a chance, opportunity to sip some water. Okay, so VXLAN. The question, guys, the question was the difference between VXLAN and Fabric Path. The question probably was the difference between VXLAN and TRIL. The question was probably the difference between VXLAN and OTV. This is answer to all those questions. Let's carry on. VXLAN doesn't end over here. VXLAN is not a overlay tunneling mechanism between two hardware devices, hardware switches. It is also a tunneling mechanism between two software switches, but also there is one more thing. That is called the hybrid. I just want to zoom you down, my friend, and want to move over to hybrid overlay. VXLAN is such a beautiful solution that it provides us leverage to have an overlay tunnel between one side a hardware device, hardware switch, and on the other side a software switch. So that kind of overlay is known as hybrid overlay. It's so beautiful, and only VXLAN has this capability. Why VXLAN has got this capability? Because VXLAN, number one, is industry standard solution. This side you go for, you know what, Cisco hardware switch. This side, you go for vSphere distributed switch. You want to create a VXLAN? Yes, you can create it. Go ahead and create a VXLAN. That is the beauty of VXLAN. And this is called your hybrid VXLAN. So let me bring it back to its original state, and let us look at into VXLAN, three different variants. So now, next point. The moment you configure VXLAN on the existing, say, physical network or virtual network, the terminologies of the devices, the name of the devices, and the network segment get changed. The device, which earlier was known as edge device, edge switch, or a simple leaf switch, when you configure VXLAN overlay, you start calling it to be as VTAP, which stands for VXLAN tunnel and point. The segment which you used to call as LAN segment, now besides LAN segment, you get a chance to call it as VXLAN segment. And there are a lot of other terminologies which we will be coming across, right? Also, the here with regards to VLAN segment, when you call the logical IDs as VLAN, in case of VXLAN, there are logical identifiers called VN IDs. We are going to look at into how many VN IDs are there. VXLAN network identifiers. All right. So tunnel encapsulation. Now, what is virtual extensible local area network? First of all, when we say virtual extensible, this extensible, just to make it more fancy, we write extensible as E small and X capital because we want to pick this letter from extensible to make our VXLAN. It is a layer 2 in layer 3 overlay tunnel. It provides us only leaf to spine connectivity, that is north to south connectivity, no east-west connectivity. It is similar to OTV, but the limitation of OTV was that it provides only L2 tunneling. Enhancements has occurred in VXLAN. VXLAN was first time introduced in the RFC, request for comment number 7348. Later on, enhancements made and MPBGP EVPN address family got introduced in VXLAN purposely to make it more agile, right, under RFC 7432. If you talk about VXLAN capabilities in the switches, in the Cisco Nexus switches, then VXLAN capable switches are only three major models: Nexus 5K, and in Nexus 5K only 5600. That is Nexus 5000 sixth generation switches are only the switches which are VXLAN capable. Nexus 7K switches are also VXLAN capable, but only with the help of F3 line cards. M3 line cards, they also support VXLAN. When it comes to Nexus 9K, all the models of Nexus 9K, they do support VXLAN, and in our lab, we will be using Nexus 9K models only for the purpose of configuring VXLAN. Another beauty of VXLAN, which we are going to discuss, is called multi-tenancy environment. What is that? We will be discussing that in proper details, and not only in details, but in our next topic called application-centric infrastructure, we will be creating multiple tenants to see how the communication occurs. That is the moment when we talk about multi-tenancy, one simple example should come in our mind called AWS, Amazon Web Services. Okay, fine, fair enough. The question is, why VXLAN? Why not VLAN? Not only that VXLAN provides us an overlay, but it provides us an extreme leverage to use the IDs, multiple IDs. That is, wherein the limitation, VLAN has a limitation of, I'm sorry, my pen is here. Wherein VLAN, has a limitation of 4096 IDs only, out of which number 1 is reserved and last IDs starting from 4094 and some IDs are also reserved. So we have limited number of VLAN IDs, and in a large, huge, gigantic network, we get crunch of. Specifically, I'm talking about, guys, the public cloud providers network, the IDs, these VLAN IDs, they are not sufficient in number. So what about VXLAN? VXLAN provides us 2 raised to the power 24, and you know what? This is 16,777,216 IDs. You must be thinking, what is the use of these IDs? VXLAN, during the configuration, we will explain and we'll see that due to the multi-tenancy allows us to use the duplicate VLAN IDs with regards to different tenants which we configure. That is nothing but that is the most important use case implementation of VXLAN. VXLAN provides us layer 3 equal cost multi-pathing. Why? Because the connectivity between the leaf and the spine switches, this connectivity is a layer 3 connectivity, and this connectivity says that there is an ECMP that works, layer 3 ECMP, equal cost multi-pathing, which works. Multi-tenancy, I have been talking about multiple times. Guys, in case if you do get to have any question on top of your mind, feel absolutely free to ask. I'm not in a hurry. I do not have a set agenda to cover these many number of slides. Holistic intention of the session is to make the class interactive by addressing your question the moment they pop up. All right. So that's the reason I do believe to take the pause as well and to see. Okay. Ruchik has asked a question. Yes, Ruchik. Yeah, Bipin, go ahead.
Okay, so like the use of VXLAN, like correct me if I'm wrong. If I have a 2 data center, like example, I have okay, and if I have to extend my layer 2 VLAN from one side to another side, in this case, I can use this VXLAN technology.
Absolutely.
So this is the beauty of this.
Yes, and your requirement is catered in one of the lab. The lab, I have not prepared it, right? Wherein there are going to be 2 different sites. There are different labs which you can do in Cisco D Cloud.
Okay,
There
in
is
Sir,
this
one lab which caters to
example,
this requirement.
I have like firewall. Between these two sites, I have data center firewall. So do we need to allow
Okay.
something, or it will be bypass that?
If there is a firewall, then
Yes.
definitely firewall will be restricting layer 3 underlay. So into the firewall, you have to allow layer 3 routing traffic.
Okay,
And
that's
so that is foremost. And VXLAN traffic also into the firewall. But once VXLAN tunnels are created, firewall can also get bypassed. Once
correct.
your layer 3 traffic is allowed, then firewall is not required.
Okay, my last questions. Like example, I have
Mhm.
two sites and both sites are connected via MPLS link, and I am using router to connect both the site. So like the
Okay.
router will pass the traffic, like it will allow me to pass the traffic.
Now, this question of yours is actually addressed in ACI lab, multi-pod and multi-site. You have two sites. The sites are connected through MPLS. You can create a VXLAN tunnel as long as you have the layer 3 reachability between the two sites, irrespective of the technology you are using, whether it is a lease line, dark fiber, MPLS, whatever it is. You just need to have layer 3 reachability between two sites, and then you can create VXLAN tunnels between them.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Yes?
sir,
You're welcome, Bipin.
in order to connect two data centers, like Vipin asked, so do we need VXLAN? Do we require ACI along with VXLAN, or only sole VXLAN will do that? In
VXLAN
order
will
to
do
connect,
that.
yeah, VXLAN itself.
VX,
Okay.
yes, VXLAN is the prerequisite. You know what? Even for ACI, if you have two ACI sites to connect them, even then you need VXLAN. VXLAN is the foundation for the overlay tunnels. Without VXLAN, MPBGP based address family, EVPN based VXLAN, you cannot even connect two of your ACI sites, whether they
Sir,
are pods or they are the sites. Go ahead.
yeah, actually, I was always thinking that in order to connect to two data centers, we need OTV or something, some other solution like that. So I was asking.
No, gone are the days of OTV, my friend.
Okay. So just the VXLAN, we can connect two data centers all together. Okay, got it.
Yes, of course. And even in CCI Data Center Lab, up till version 2.1, the two data center used to be connected through OTV, but now it is through VXLAN. In version 3.0, Cisco in itself has deprecated OTV from the lab. Now think of the industry. Whether industry is going to use OTV? No. Ruchik, I didn't actually get your question, my friend. If one switch is equal to one VTAP, three VDCs is equal to three VTAPs. Three VDCs? Okay. Are you talking about three? You're running
Yeah,
VXLAN? Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, if it is an access which is like it's a 7K connected, and I have created three VDC on them. So
Yes.
can I create a, VX with each of the VDC, or is there any limitation? And if I can create it, yes. So how it segregate itself with the other VDC? And, uh,
Okay. Good question.
any
Very good question.
particular? Uh-huh.
Uh, quick answer to your question is indeed yes. if you have one switch, physical switch, one VTAP. If you have 3 virtual device contacts in Nexus 7K and you want to create tunnels, yes, it is going to give you 3 different VTAPs. Configuration wise, you have to do the similar configuration. Configuration wise, you have to establish layer 3 routing, layer 3 reachability between those VDCs. And probably you know that the layer 3 reachability between the VDCs in the same box cannot be done internally. It has to be done through external cables. That is, one VDC connect it externally to another VDC.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So internal, probably sometimes we may think that, oh, these VDCs are in a same single switch. Physical switch is same. So we don't need to have another, we don't need external connectivity. Indeed, yes, we require. Okay. Any moment, guys. You can ask any question in between. We are not at all in any hurry. Yes.
I would like to ask one question. What
Please go ahead.
what will be the benefit of VXLAN over VPLS? The VPLS also do extension of VLAN. What we
Yes.
get to do after deploying VXLAN or
See,
VPLS?
VPLS, number one, the cost effectiveness. VPLS is not available with regards to each and every. This technology is not available with regards to each and almost very few switches they support VPLS. And well, if I'm not wrong, this is pretty an old technology, introduced a decade back. Yes, it was one of the overlay technology. So, but VXLAN is the hot selling cake these days, industry-wide accepted. And the top most advantage is the table which it forms. It prepares its own neighbor relationship table, and it prepares its own the control plane table, which has detailed information, reachability information. Why? Because it uses various attributes of MPBGP. Hope you know, in BGP there are various attributes. One of the attributes is called community string, right? So more you will go, you will realize the difference between, right? Which
The same, sorry, you can finish, sir.
yeah, no, nothing. Go ahead. And then
Sir, if we want to extend the VLANs from one switch to another switch, the same things where we were able to do it via L2 VPN. So what is like the advantage of VXLAN over L2 VPN?
okay. The answer is right in front of your screen, and this is called multi-tenancy. In case of normal plain L2 VPN, what can you do? You can extend one VLAN, right? But in case of VXLAN, the VLAN number 2, right, given to Mr. A, VLAN number 2 is also given to but Mr. B. The same VLAN ID but given to 2 different tenants can be extended. And this is nothing but this is called, multi-tenancy. Different tenant, but same VLAN, same network address, but they are still extended. That is the major advantage. And this is called, in short, without a detailed explanation, I can say multi-tenancy. This multi-tenancy is the only feature which is available with VXLAN, not with L2 VPN, not with OTV, not with any other overlay technology. How? We will see in the lab.
Okay.
I will explain you each and every component.
And can you please explain about the multi-tenancy? What does it mean, multi-tenancy?
Okay. I'll just give you a high level overview of what is multi-tenancy in a most simplest possible way. Today, everybody knows about Amazon Web Services, right? What Amazon Web Services does. Amazon Web Services provides a hosting services. Best is called hosting. Why I'm using this particular term? This terminology is pretty old terminology. Amazon says, what your network, you have a network, what you are a global company. So, okay, provide me your details. I will provide you one setup. For example, two competitors, one is Pepsi and another competitor is Coke. What Amazon says, dude, to both of you, I will provide connectivity to the same hardware devices, but logically, you will not be able to have communication between you. I'm going to provide you the same VLAN IDs, say VLAN ID of 20 to you and VLAN ID of 20 to you, but you will not be able to talk to each other. Multi-tenancy means that we are going to have different tenants, and these different tenants, they are discrete in terms. They can be similar in terms of configuration, but they will be discrete in terms of communication between them. Multi-tenancy is an analogous, is a latest terminology analogous of old terminology called co-location service. And let me give you my own personal example. The year 2005, 16 years back, I was working with a service provider. I had a couple of customers. They said, we have our web server. If we deploy our web server in our own network setup, our customers, they are complaining. Could you please host our web server in your data center? And you know what? We were hosting the customer's hardware device in our data center to provide them the internet connectivity. Various customers were there. So we had a dedicated rack for different customers, right? So that was a co-location service. One more example. After that, in the data center, there were various service providers, right? They used to, in their data center, they used to create the cages, right? I'm talking about old, well, it was in the year 2008. When I visited another data center, there were cages. A dedicated cages to, say, Pepsi, and a dedicated cage to, say, Coke, wherein the PepsiCo's hardware devices were deployed, and in another cage, Coke's hardware devices, network devices were deployed. Servers were deployed. Cages, literally, they were locked cages. Only the particular customers, engineers were allowed to enter into. Gone are those hardware days. Now, example is in front of us, Amazon. Amazon says, now you are no more my customers, you are my tenant. The terminology customer is changed to tenant. Now you are my tenant. We have a owner and tenancy relationship. We will provide you the network services. You need not bring your hardware devices. You will not own any asset in my premises, but you will be getting the services. The co-location service concept is changed into multi-tenancy concept now. I hope I'm able to explain you. So
Sir,
since
same,
you started, yes,
the same L2 VPN. Say if it was a service provider gives this service L2 VPN service to different customers. So I did not get that point actually. Where
my
exactly?
friend,
Uh,
yes, indeed. But for providing L2 VPN service to different customers, what they used to deploy, they used to deploy dedicated hardware devices for that. In a single hardware device, you cannot host multiple tenants, which is possible with the help of VXLAN, multi-tenancy, because each and every tenant requires the VLAN. There will be a clash will happen. Definitely, if you are a service provider running, say, iOS XR routers, you can create multiple VRF. But where, at what level? At the service provider's level. Here we
yes,
are
yes,
saying,
within the
right?
data center.
Yes. But even iOS XR routers, they have got certain limitations in number of VRF. So this limitation is curtailed in the concept called VXLAN. Well, to be very honest, once you will do the lab, then you will understand. Otherwise, it's all theory.
Okay.
Okay. So lab theory is just to make the concepts clear and to create your curiosity to head towards the lab. And to be very honest, myself, unless and until I did the lab, I was not convinced myself about the VXLAN theory. Okay. All right. VXLAN terminologies. Well, during this particular discussion, we have discussed almost all the terminologies which come under VXLAN. Let's discuss them in a more crispy manner. Underlay network, we now know very well. Underlay network is nothing but it is layer 3 routing network or routed network with the help of a routing protocol. Which protocol? Holistically, it is OSPF. No EIGRP, no RIP. Forget about IGRP. Overlay network. Overlay network is nothing but it is a tunnel network, and tunnel network means VXLAN tunnel, and VXLAN for the purpose of neighbor relationship establishment as per its modern deployment methodology needs the help of a path vector protocol called MP-BGP. Since we are using MP means multi-protocol BGP provides us leverage to use different address families like IPv4 unicast, IPv6 unicast, VPN v4 unicast, VPN v6 unicast, L2 VPN, EVPN. Now, Nishant, you're talking about L2 VPN, right? I am not denying the fact that L2 VPN is one of the most beautiful. But over here, we are doing an enhancement in layer 2 VPN with the help of address family called Ethernet over VPN. And this is an address family which we are using along with our MP-BGP. What for? That's the mystery. Why BGP and why EVPN? That is the important catch in the lab. Okay. VXLAN.
Sir, this is a variant. This is a variant of MPBGP. You mean to say that EVPN or L2 VPN plus EVPN?
It is a variant. It is not. You can say variant, or
Or
in technical terms, we call it as address family. It is one of the
okay,
family
okay,
member of MPBGP.
okay. It's an address family. Got it, sir. Got it.
Yes,
Okay.
it is
Like
called address family.
like we have VPN v4 kind of thing, right?
Correct.
VPN v4 is an address family. Yeah, got it.
Right. Okay. The VLAN ID, what we use in our VLAN segment is here known as VXLAN network identifier. The leaf switch, the moment we configure VXLAN, overlay tunnel on top of it becomes a device name called VXLAN tunnel endpoint. The same switch, maybe hardware or software. VMware uses software VTAP. Cisco solution says a hardware VTAP. We have seen, right? Network overlay, hybrid overlay, and host overlay. The interface on this VTAP device, from where the VXLAN overlay tunnel should begin. This interface is a virtual interface, and this interface name is NVE. Network virtual endpoint. Right. So what we do is in the course of our VXLAN configuration, we create an interface called interface NVE say 1, and then we do the configurations under it.
So is it
Now,
like GRE tunnel? Like
yes,
interface we do tunnel, right? Okay.
yes. Whenever you create any tunneling, you require a virtual interface. In OTV, we call it as interface overlay. Bridge domain. I'm just parking it for a while. VN segment. Now, you may ask why I have parked it, because this particular terminology we use only in Nexus 7K switches. Instead of using the terminology called VN segment, VXLAN network segment. So the VLAN segment, what we do talk the analogous in our traditional setup, the VLAN segment here is known as VN segment. This segment talks about what? This segment talks about the VN IDs instead of VLAN. Now the same VN segment in Nexus 7K. Guys, there's a slight difference, right? In between Nexus 5K, 9K on the one side and Nexus 7K on the other. So in Nexus 7K, this is known as bridge domain. Those friends of mine who have joined over here from ACI, please do not confuse this bridge domain with the bridge domain which we configured in ACI. All right. Okay. My pen is gone down. Head is up. Ears are open to listen to your
So
question.
both bridge domain and VN segment both are related to Nexus 7K.
In Nexus 7K, when we do the configuration, we use terminology called bridge domain instead of VN segment while creating it. But in Nexus 5K, Nexus 5K and Nexus 9K, we do create VN segment and not bridge domain. During the course of our configuration, they are similar to each other.
Sir, but I got confused with VNID. Like you wrote VNID and VN segment are the same or they are different?
No. VLAN and VNID are same. VLAN ID and VNID are analogous to each other. VLAN ID we use in VLAN segment. VN ID we use in our VN, that is VXLAN network segment. Okay. All right. That's all for the day from my side. From your side, if you have a question or any question. Alan, back.
So VX lane basically is a tunnel, while VNID is in between the servers, right?
Very
Maybe.
good question. VXLAN is a tunnel. VNID is the representative of the traffic which goes inside the tunnel, right? Instead of, very good question. Let me tell you, say you have created a tunnel over here between two VTAP devices. In this tunnel, you know, in your network segment, what you have over here a VLAN, say VLAN 20. This VLAN 20 cannot enter into the tunnel, right? Because this tunnel is your VXLAN tunnel. So what enters into it? A number, for example, 2020 can enter into it. What is this number? This number is your VNID. What is this number? This number is your VLAN. So what does this mean? This means, first of all, we need to map our VLAN with VNID, and this VNID goes inside the tunnel.
Is it like encapsulation, right?
Absolutely, it is an encapsulation, and I'm going to show you each and every header in the encapsulation. And this encapsulation, guys, adds 50 additional bytes.
So we need for each VNI IDs. We need a separate VXLAN, or we can carry multiple VNI IDs in a single VXLAN tunnel.
Multiple VNIDs, yes, multiple VNIDs definitely can go. And each VNID, you know, okay, I really have to stop myself here, because again it will come to the multi-tenancy concept. Answer is yes. There are a lot of other things, guys, in VXLAN, very interesting things in VXLAN, which will come in front of us, but I'm looking for your questions. Alan, Beck, Bilal, any question? All right. If no question, then let's say goodbye, cheers, and hope to see you in the next session. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you so very much for joining, and stay
sorry,
safe,
what
stay
tomorrow
blessed.
topic? What is tomorrow topic?
Manoj, tomorrow we will come back to our lab. That is our VPC lab.
Okay,
right?
Thank you.
Once we are done with the VPC lab hands-on, all right, I will explain you that each and every task. Only then we will continue this particular topic next, and that too next week. All right. Okay. All right, guys. Then thank you so very much. Catch you people. All my new friends will catch you say next week. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye bye.
Thanks everyone. Bye bye.